What's up guys, welcome to this week's video, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 things I love about my Focus ST. You know, we're also going to talk about a few things I didn't like about my Fiesta ST. If you guys noticed, I never made a video on 5 things I like about my Fiesta, and to be perfectly honest, it's because I didn't like it. You know, I just finished washing Evie. She looks great. I was using the new Works. Remember I showed you guys like a few weeks ago the Works Power Shot? So that comes with a soap dispenser. So I was using that today because I just received that in the mail about a week ago. And to be honest, it works fantastic. If you check my Instagram, you can see some of the pictures. The coverage is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, I'll probably do a review on that some other time. But for now, here are 5 things that I love about my Focus ST. Number 1, I love the fact that it's a turbo. I know you guys, you know, have seen me boost my BRZ. You've seen me drive, you know, a naturally aspirated S2000 and my turbo Fiesta. To be perfectly honest, remember I got rid of my supercharger on the BRZ. To be honest, I am a turbo guy. So I love that about this car. You know, it's a really small turbo, so it spools really, really quickly. Unfortunately, it does lose some power in the top end. So anything past like 5,500 RPMs is you're gonna generally feel that fall off. I definitely noticed that if I shift at redline, 6,500 RPMs, oh my god, RPMs, the car just doesn't push quite the same. However, I found peak RPM to shift is about 5 to 5.5. That's kind of like right when the power is like just about to fall off, shift, good to go. So I love that about this car. I like the small turbo. I might upgrade to a bigger turbo for, you know, bigger high-end power, but you know, we'll see in the future. Number 2, what I like about this car, I love the fact that it's a hatchback. I like hatchbacks. To be honest, like, hatchbacks are the biggest I'll ever go in a car. You know, as you guys well know, I have an affinity for small 2-door coupes or roadsters, a la the BRZ, the Miata, and the S2000. Hatchbacks are the one exception I'll make. I don't know why. I love the look of hatchbacks. I think they look great. This car in particular, I think looks fantastic. That combined with my all-time favorite, the Hawkeye WRX hatchback. That is my all-time favorite hatchback. I think that car was designed perfectly. It looks fantastic. But this car is honestly, it's a great replacement. This was my second choice. I'm really, really happy with the hatchback option. I think it looks great. There's actually quite a bit of room in here too. Supposedly, I was doing some research and this car actually has largely the biggest trunk space compared to a lot of the hatchbacks out there. And but yeah, so you know, that was a second bonus. Number 3, what I love about this car. I actually am really impressed with the way Ford tuned the suspension in this car. For the Focus, the suspension is actually a little bit lighter in the back. And what that means is that you do tend, like when you take a turn, you can experience some lift-off oversteer, which is pretty fun because for a front-wheel drive car, this car can actually get sideways, which I thought was pretty impressive. And to be honest, it made this car a lot more fun. There's this back road that I take to and from, you know, a few places that I go to. And to be honest, you know, it's nice and twisty. And, you know, there were a few times, you know, with the traction control fully off, that I managed, you know, to get her a little bit slidey. Now, granted, it's not quite the same as in a rear-wheel drive car like the BRZ. You do have to kind of like, you have to mess with the throttle a little bit differently. The control is a little bit different. However, it was a lot of fun. It really kind of gave me a big appreciation for this car and the way Ford tuned it. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, because I didn't like the Fiesta, you know, again, this was a purchase because of necessity, less so because of want. And I was afraid that I wasn't really gonna, I knew I was gonna like this more than the Fiesta, but I was afraid I was not gonna like it that much. After experiencing that and after driving this car a bunch, I really like this car. It is a fantastic car. Like, I'm really, really enjoying the way it drives. So moving on with that, number 4, another reason why I love the Focus. To be fair, perfectly honest, I think it's an incredibly comfortable drive. The seats are comfortable. I did not get the Recaros. Those were a little bit too expensive. But the car feels good. It feels really solid. And I don't really know if I can explain this in words properly, but it feels solid to drive. There's no... I will say it's more refined than the BRZ. It's a different driving experience. You know, the BRZ for me is very, very raw and very... You're so connected with the road and you know, every little thing matters. With the Focus, I mean, let's be honest, it is an economy car with a turbo and some mods on it. Essentially, that's essentially what the Focus ST is. But you know what though? Like, I think Ford has done a fantastic job. It feels good to drive. Like, I enjoy this car. I mean, the power that it has is great. So I'm really happy with it so far. And number 5, the last reason why I love this car is, to be perfectly honest, there are a good amount of mods for it. I actually really like the aftermarket selection for this car. There's more out there than I expected. So like going to a site like, you know, CJ Pony Parts or you know, Mountoon or Boomba, Steeda, there's a lot of companies out there that make a lot of aftermarket parts for this car, for this platform. I was not expecting that, and I actually really like that because there's a lot of things that I can do with this car that allow me to kind of really personalize it. For me, I really like modding and building cars, and while I'm not as much of a track heavy person, a lot of it, to be perfectly honest, is really for my own visual enjoyment. I really like the visual aspect of cars. I think cars that look really, really cool, like that for me that's one of the big things about modding. I'm really, really into the look of a car. But yeah, so those are the 5 reasons why I love my Focus. Now, a few reasons why I didn't like the Fiesta. To be honest, a lot of them are really petty. And a lot of it is because I already had the BRZ. A lot of people compare the Fiesta and the BRZ together. And the Fiesta, for me, I felt like kept trying to emulate that, but in like the worst possible way. You know, it was front wheel drive, and so when you step on the throttle, you get all this torque steer. Like, surprisingly, like the Focus doesn't torque steer that much. The Fiesta torque steered like nobody's business. And so, like, there was a ton of torque steer. I didn't like where the center of gravity was. Like, being so used to the BRZ and such a low center of gravity, the Fiesta was too high. And to be honest, like, I didn't feel confident taking some turns. The BRZ, I'm super confident. You know, I can take a turn. I know when when the tire is about to break. Like, I know my limits on that car. With the Fiesta, I don't know, like, it always felt like it was about to tip over, and I think largely because the Fiesta is just so much taller than the BRZ. So the Fiesta, so I actually had a Fiesta SE before the ST, long time ago. So I actually really liked that car, and that's a big reason why I chose the Fiesta ST in the first place, because I was like, you know what, I had the economy version, I really enjoyed it. It was actually a pretty fun car for what it was, you know, small hatchback, it was only like 150 horsepower, but you know, it was fun, and I really enjoyed that car. I was like, you know, Fiesta ST, you know, this is just the turbo version, it's gonna be a little bit faster, it's gonna handle better, I'm gonna enjoy it a little bit more, you know, great. And then so when I got the Fiesta, the ST, there was one thing that bothered me so much, and I know some of you guys are probably gonna be like, it's really not that big of a deal, but holy crap, like, this bothered me so much. When I drive my cars, you know, I'm a tall person, I have really long arms. I like to rest my elbow on my armrest. And that basically allows me to rest my elbow and shift at the same time. And it's comfortable, and I can, you know, it allows me to do like longer drives, and I'm comfortable and great. The Fiesta SE, so the base model, that one had a small like pull down like armrest from the chair, which for me was great because that was perfectly in line with the shift knob. So that was there, and I was like, awesome. Now, obviously, the Fiesta ST seats didn't have that because, you know, they're more bolstered, they're more like, they're trying to emulate like racing seats. So they didn't have that. And instead, they have the armrest, the center console. I was like, cool, I could just rest my arm on that. Nope. Absolutely not. You want to rest your arm on that? Well, you better somehow lift your seat like an extra 1.5 inches. Because when I would rest my arm on it, it would put my arm like this. And then I try to shift, and the shift knob's like lower. And like you can't rest your elbow, and so the entire time like my elbow's floating and I'm just like trying to shift, and like it's not comfortable, and I hated it, and it was stupid, and Ford is dumb, and I'm just being a whiny bitch now. But you know what, I didn't like it. Focus doesn't have that problem. So yeah, that was another thing. And also, like, the reason I got the Fiesta again was more out of necessity. It was just due to the fact that like I am part of a band and I do carry a lot of band gear, and so having a car that has the ability to transport gear is really, really important to me. And for me, I upgraded to the Focus. So much more space, and I can carry so much more stuff, and it's great. But yeah, I mean, that's basically the reason why I did not like the Fiesta. You know, I really wanted to mod it. Like, there are some really cool mods for the Fiesta. Like, you can make a Fiesta look really cool. You know, stage 3, you could, you know, that thing could have like 300 pounds of torque. The numbers that I was going to originally get with the Fiesta when I was going to tune the Fiesta, but now I don't need to because I already have the Focus. And granted, the Focus is like 300 or 400 pounds heavier. Like, you do kind of feel that a little bit. If I go stage 3 in this Focus, you know, stage 3, just to specify, stage 3 with an E30 tune, because I live actually right next to a E85 pump, I could probably hit close to 300 wheel horsepower and almost 400 pounds of torque. And that's just bolt-ons and a tune. Like, I don't even need a bigger turbo. To be perfectly honest, that's probably all I'll need. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. That was my 5 reasons why I love the Focus ST, and a few reasons why I hated the Fiesta ST. Again, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. I will see you guys on the next one.